Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We let a few minutes go by just for folks who were still registering and coming in, but we're glad to see you, glad you're here today. My name is Jenny Womack, and I'm the director of the Occupational Therapy program here at App State, which is a brand new program. And you might notice a lot of folks who are in some gear that would tell you that there are students in the OT program. So as one of their projects that they're doing, they're helping to put on this session, and we hope you'll get to interact with them and mine their technology brains and also share with them some tricks that you all have. So really glad to see you here today. A couple of housekeeping things. I was asked to remind you all that there's an evaluation for the session out at the desk, so please take one of those before you leave, because they really rely on what people would like to hear in the future after these happen. And then there's also, you'll see this sitting out at the table. It's a flyer about the Aging Well conference, which is coming up in May in this same building. And that's a conference that this is only the second year we've held it. Lots of interesting things that go on at that conference, so want to make sure that you know about it. And I know that the Institute office is going to be sending out emails about it, so make sure that they have your email so that they can follow up. Okay, so let's delve into this topic today a little bit about assistive technologies. This is one of the areas in which occupational therapy does quite a bit of work. And so we wanted to share some of that with you all and kind of open up this conversation of what we're talking about. And we want to think about assistive technology has some definitions that are sort of shared across things like policy and law. What does it mean for something to be an assistive technology device? But we want to talk about it as any sort of equipment or product or process. It doesn't matter whether it's custom made or off the shelf, but it's used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities. So if there's something that you want to do and you're having sort of a challenge or a little bit of an issue doing it, maybe there's a piece of technology that could solve it, and that kind of then becomes categorized as assistive technology. For many years, it was sort of assigned to thinking about people with disabilities. But really, what we want to sort of lean into is that AT is not just for people with disabilities. It's really about reducing the disabling characteristics of an environment. So if there's something in the environment that makes it difficult for you to do something because of the abilities that you have, assistive technology is what can help bridge that gap, help you do it. So we just put some examples here so that you see what we're talking about. So people associate a cane a lot of times with somebody maybe who has a mobility impairment, and that may be true. Somebody has reduced balance, or they've had a recent knee replacement or a hip replacement or something like that. But the cane is really about making different environments navigable, right? So that you feel safer in those environments. And the cane is a piece of technology that can really easily sort of bring your capacities to a higher level so that you can do more things that you want to do. A page magnifier, sort of the same idea, except that it is making a reading environment accessible that maybe was less accessible because the print was too small or the contrast wasn't great on the page. Even really simple things like self-opening tongs. I don't know if any of you have ever, if you have any hand arthritis or anything that makes it difficult sometimes to use really small utensils in the kitchen. There are tongs that you can use that once you clamp them, they're clamped, and you've got to work to kind of get them back apart. And say you've got another hand involved in doing something else, you're probably ready to curse them sometimes, right? So self-opening tongs are a really simple piece of technology that allow us to do cooking tasks with more ease if we don't have the dexterity or if we are using only one hand in that task. Car pedal extenders are another thing that a lot of cars are built. I don't know if you've had this experience. Cars are built to an average human in the United States, and all of us are going to deviate from the average a little bit, right? So when we think about how someone fits in their car, a lot of times they may fit beautifully to the steering wheel and the mirrors, but they can't reach the pedals. So the last person I had this conversation with was a woman who was 8 months pregnant, and she was really concerned because she wanted to sit farther back from the steering wheel, but then she couldn't reach the pedals. So she ended up looking at car pedal extenders for that. So she was taking an environment that was less accessible to her, even if it was on a temporary basis, and using some technology to make that a little bit easier for her. All right, I'm going to take a sip of water. Sorry, I've had a little bit of sickness recently, and I find myself not making it through a whole presentation. All right. So we want to talk about a range of items belong under the umbrella of what we call assistive technology. We could be talking about very low-tech things, like in the picture you see sort of rubber tubing that we can add to make handles bigger on almost anything that's an everyday device. Or we could be talking about something really high-tech, like an eye gaze computer system, so that the person is using the movement of their eyes to move a cursor across the screen. Both of those are assistive technologies. They are just at various ends of the spectrum of complexity in terms of technology. And we also, in OT, do a lot of things that are custom-made technologies. So we may have somebody who's dealing with a very particular challenge that they have, and we might be trying to customize something. So this that you see is a 3D printed splint specifically made for that person to use a fork in a certain way. But it could also be technology that's off the shelf, meaning we could go into a computer store and buy a mouse that's adapted with a ball instead of being a straight mouse that you move about on the table. That's an off-the-shelf technology, but it may fit that person's capabilities really well. So the other thing we're trying to do is to match the technology to the person and figure out what's going to best work for them. That is represented for us with this sort of model that we use that the students know about. We call it the HAT model. So it's about the human, the activity that you want to do, and the assistive technology. So we start with this question of what is it you want to do? And where do you want to do it? What's the context in which you're going to be trying to do it? Are you able to do it as you would like to? And if not, would assistive technology help? So that's sort of the problem solving that we're going through with a lot of things. And this is, I think, a helpful model even just for all of us who are maybe going to buy technology off the shelf. It doesn't have to be in a circumstance where you've had an injury or an illness and we're trying to address that. We're talking every day, all of us are intersecting with technology, and maybe think about what's the right fit for us in terms of the characteristics that it has. So I want to talk just about a couple of other terms because you may hear them sometimes. One is the concept of mainstream technology. And that is technology that's designed for general public use. We can all probably pull things out of our pockets or purses or whatever that are going to be in this category of mainstream technology, like smartphones, maybe even pill boxes of certain kinds, eyeglasses are in that category. These are mainstream technologies that are widely available through commercial channels. And one of the interesting things about mainstream technology and assistive technology is that many of the items that we now use in the mainstream were once considered sort of specialized assistive technologies. So things like your phone being able to do captions for you, or you being able to dictate by voice to send texts. Those things were very specialized technologies for a while, and now they've entered the mainstream because that sort of universal benefit has been recognized. The other term, that I don't know if anybody's familiar with, is gerund technology. Have any of you heard that term? There is a movement, if you will, in the world called either gerund technology or age tech. This is particularly people who are interested in developing, marketing, thinking about the needs of older people relative to technology. And so one of the things that's interesting about this is that it puts even more emphasis on things like technology that's used in housing environments. So things like smart devices that can help you control your home, or that would beep when you've left the refrigerator door open, or that would help you turn a stove off with a timer, things like that. They're also very interested in health communication. So how do we do things like remote telehealth with our primary care providers, and how does that technology work for us in terms of the ways we like to interact with technology? Community participation is another thing in this area. So this is a really specialized realm of assistive technology, but as you hear that term maybe enter the mainstream a little bit more, you'll sort of know what we're talking about, is this technology that has a particular interest in a generation that uses technology in a certain way. And for right now, that generation for me is that I grew up without internet, right? Probably most of you did as well. Grew up without smartphones. So we're a bridge generation. We've bridged into some technology, but we're not natives. I would venture to say most of these folks are going to be natives, or at least close natives, to a lot of the technology we use now. So what we want to do today is to introduce you to some common categories of assistive technology and provide you some opportunities for some hands-on exploration and conversation about various technologies and devices. So you may have seen that we have 5 tables set up outside with different categories of assistive technology. And we want to connect you with students who are currently thinking about these things and how we might be using them in today's world. And just really bolster this conversation between us about integrating technology into what is a valued life. We would say a valued life occupation, the things that you do every day that are important to you. So we're going to welcome the OT students to be sort of your guides to assistive technology. I mentioned we have these 5 tables outside. Each of them has a different category. So I'm going to invite the speakers from each group up to tell you a little bit about what you're going to be seeing when you go back into the lobby. And also, if you'd like things to be brought to you in here, we have a way to do that as well. So.
Hey y'all, I'm Julie. I'm going to be at a table that's going to be talking about devices for basic activities of daily living. So anything related to dressing, toileting, bathing, eating, or any sort of functional accessibility. The devices on our table are pretty low tech. I'm going to have my group just wave really quickly. So if you're interested in looking at any of those devices, please feel free to find us.
Let's see, there we go.
Hey guys, I'm Mackenzie. So our group, we're going to be kind of focusing on like computer and smartphone like accessibility options. You'll see up there at the top is a large print keyboard that has some color contrast to it. And then down below, that's one of the 2 like adaptable mouses that we have that can be used for computers if you have like stiffness or like arthritis or something. But we can also introduce you to some other like apps that you can get on your phone for like visual and like hearing like help, and then just a lot of like how to change the font, change the size, how to magnify on your smartphone if you want. So kind of any of that type of fun stuff.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it to advance. There we go.
All right, I'm Denitza. My group is going to be talking about durable medical equipment. These are just devices that are made to last a long time, and they can be prescribed either by medical professionals, or you can usually find them online or in a medical store. My group is specifically going to focus on some items you can use in the bathroom, like the shower. We have some various bathtub seats, some rails to get into the bathtub, and we're also going to have some mobility devices like wheelchairs, walkers, canes, all those things. So we're asked about those.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin and this is Lauren. So our group is going to be introducing you to IADLs, which are instrumental activities of daily living. So what is an IADL? Basically, it's just more complex activities that go into your daily life, which you can kind of see on the board. Lauren will talk a little bit more about those.
I'm Lauren. So at our table, you'll find all the equipment that's listed on the screen, such as cooking adaptations and vehicle adaptations. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask us at our table.
Hi, my name is Ellery. I'm representing the sensory devices group. So we have several devices that are made for sort of making up for any sensory impairments you might be having. We're mostly focusing on vision and hearing, but if you have any questions about other devices or other senses, we are happy to discuss those as well. Technology-wise, we're working mostly with magnifying devices for physical and digital technologies, and then hearing assistance as well.
Thank you. I'm going to borrow that back. Oh, floaters, please. Yeah.
Okay, we're your floaters. My name's Lydia.
My name's Cameron.
And if you need any help getting around, if you don't want to navigate the crowds, or if you want, if you don't think you can get out there and like things to be brought to you, you're welcome to find us. We're in our hats, and we're happy to ask for any help for any of these categories.
Great, I'm gonna steal it back, thank you. So we would really like you all to feel free to just have conversations about what you're seeing. And even if it's something that you feel like you're not necessarily personally interested in, you might have a family member, a friend, maybe you want to know how to support them better with the things that they're using, or that you might see something that's of interest to them. So we have sort of a small crowd today, so we're going to have some great customized conversations, and we just invite you to gather out in the lobby with us. We rotate through tables. We will all be out there to be your conversation partners about this. And about 4:15, we'll just make an announcement to come back in here, see if there's any wrap-up or final questions that you have, and hope you enjoy seeing the technology displays. There's some contact information about. I'll put my email up here as well. And a big thank you from all the students. Some of them are going to be joining us again in here, so if you have anything specific to their devices or tables, but we really appreciate your time. I know you're filling out your evaluation, so I'm not trying to interrupt you, but if there's anything else you'd like to ask about or know about, we're here to answer those questions. So.
I've got a question about insurance.
Okay, good one.
Does Medicare cover any kind of in-home assistance or aid during the week?
So the question is about whether or not Medicare covers in-home assistance or an in-home aid during the week. My best answer is a general no, but there are some exceptions to it. Medicare is beginning to do more to cover caregivers specifically who have some relationship to you, who want to be your assistants in the home, but it is very limited, and it typically channels through certain Medicare Advantage plans. So it's not a widespread kind of thing. Medicaid is a little bit broader, has been. We're seeing some changes come down the pike about that. The VA is the other place that actually has some resources around that. And in particular, the VA has really leaned into the caregiver support system, so that if you identify somebody who is a consistent caregiver for you, they can sometimes be paid through VA funds to support you in the home. But I would really encourage you to talk to some of the folks through, I don't know if you know the NC SHIP program, the state health insurance plan. Do you all have somebody from SHIP who comes and talks here? Okay, yeah, so in the fall, they are very astute at figuring out, based on your specific coverage, what you might be eligible for. And they do that all on a volunteer basis, typically around tax time, is my memory. Is that about right? No. Okay, don't remember that. So they often work through the councils or departments on aging. They're called SHIP, but it's spelled SHIIP. And they can do some consultation around your specific benefits.
You're very active during the sign-up period
For Medicare. That's right, which is typically October-ish, right? Yeah, okay. So during the Medicare sign-up period, you'll see them be active with where they are available in town. Other things. Sorry, I wasn't as prepared for the in-home assistance piece, but I will be next time. I thought you were going to ask me about them covering technology. Anything else? Is there anything you saw that you would, like to give feedback on, or say maybe we should show more of, or anything that was particularly interesting that you might like to see a follow-up program about?
We really enjoyed seeing all the things you can do with our phones that we didn't know existed.
Okay, things that you can do with smartphones that you didn't know could happen. Yeah, the students are great about that. They're always teaching us something new about what we're presenting about, or the technology we're using to present, so that makes sense. Anything else? Yeah, here, Cheryl.
It's hardest to help folks getting up and down, up in chairs, down, in and out of the car,
Mm-hmm.
the lifting aspect.
Uh-huh.
So there's a whole lot out there that helps with lifting.
Right.
Caregivers.
Yeah, that that may be a whole topic unto itself, if you think there would be enough interest in it. So she's talking about lifting, assisting people to move up and down. We do quite a bit of training for community providers, especially people who are in transportation systems and things like that, about how to protect your own body mechanics when you're helping somebody else move up and down. There are also some pieces of technology, we just don't have them. There is actually a chair lift. It's a cushion, basically, that has a mechanical component that will lift up to about 45 degrees that helps the person sitting at least get part way up. Sort of like a lift chair, but without having to buy the lift chair. It fits in any chair. And it's a lift assist.
And you don't have to plug it in.
No, you don't have to plug it in. Yeah. Yeah. Have you used one or seen one before? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there are definitely some technologies that would work with that. And if there's something in particular, I'm happy to research and get back to you. But it also could be maybe an interesting topic, is because I think a lot of people find themselves in the position of helping other people do things and trying to make sure that you're staying healthy yourself while you're doing that. So, yes, sir.
Pathway lighting, like at night.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the church on and off on that.
Mm-hmm.
Something on that.
Okay.
And that's,
Yeah.
I've run into a chest kid where I had no time.
Okay. Does somebody mind emailing me that idea about pathway lighting for in and out of the house? Because I know that there are some technologies for it. Again, we don't have them right here right now, but we could certainly send some follow-up through the Institute about interests like that. So.
We had some at one point, like an LED strip that
Yeah.
attached to the underside of the bed.
Uh-huh.
And there was a sensor that would sense when somebody stepped down, it would stay on until you got back in bed.
Ah.
But
It doesn't sense anymore, is that the?
it cuts off.
Uh-huh, okay.
And so, I mean, that was helpful, but it didn't last very long.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask what made it eventually not useful. Is because did it wear out? I mean, the illumination.
It was an internet buy, it was very expensive.
Gotcha.
Just
Yeah.
didn't last very long, but it was neat. And you could change the colors, you could change the intensity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's an interesting topic, because a lot of people know that, there's plenty of lighting that you can get that senses when you enter a room, but then you usually have full illumination. And in the middle of the night, you don't want that necessarily, right? You just want the way illuminated a little bit. So it does have to be a specific technology that's not going to do too much illumination at night.
Can you touch on the next academy session that's financial planning?
I bet I know someone who can.
This next one will be pretty interesting. There's a financial planner and lawyer who's coming up from Hickory, who's going to touch on just thinking about financial planning for residential changes. And I'd reached out to her to ask more specifically about Medicaid versus Medicare and any kind of residential settings. And I don't know how much she will talk about that, but she'll definitely touch on Medicaid in financial planning. Probably not so much Medicare and financial planning for residential assistance. It should be good though. Apparently she's very animated.
All right, well, thank you all so much for coming this afternoon, and thanks to the students for all their work, and we appreciate you just being interested in the Aging Academy, and we hope to see you here soon again next month at the next